Hey MMS, happy Tuesday. Today we're going to be learning from week 2, lesson 3. We're still comparing decimals. That's still one of our key ideas. And in this lesson, we're learning to use division to convert a fraction to a decimal. I want to talk about real quick what we learned in lesson 2 yesterday. So in lesson 2, if we scroll up here, we learned that decimals are another way of writing fraction amounts. So one of the things we did was convert this fraction into a decimal using the place value chart. Today, we're going to be converting fractions into decimals using division, and we're going to be using our calculators for this. So if you have a calculator, go ahead and get it out. Hopefully you have one at home. There's calculators on the computer now. There's also calculators on your phones now. So even if you don't have a physical calculator, you can still use a calculator on your phone if you have one or on the computer. All right. So what this table is trying to show us is that when we have a fraction, get my drawing tool out. When we have a fraction like 2/5 right here, we can convert this to a decimal shown here by using division. So in our calculator, we would do 2 divided by 5, and we would get 0.4. So notice that the 2 is the numerator in our fraction, and the 5 is the denominator in our fraction. So whenever we are converting fractions to decimals and we're using our calculator, we're going, or even if you're just doing it by hand on paper, you're going to be dividing the numerator divided by denominator. This bar right here, that also means division. So this is in fraction form, but this bar means division. That's why I can say that I'm going to divide my numerator divided by my denominator. Okay, so that's why they took 2/5 and in their calculator put 2 divided by 5 and got 0.4 as a decimal. Okay, let's do the same thing with 3 divided by 8. So I'm not sure how well you will be able to see this, but I'm going to type in 3 divided by 8. Make sure that you're pressing the equal button, and you get 0.375. Again, that was 0.375. So notice that's exactly what they got in their table as well. So when you divide 3 divided by 8, this is what you'll get. Remember, it's numerator divided by denominator, okay? You may get a terminating or repeating decimal. That's the next thing they want to talk about. So when you are converting a fraction to a decimal, you're either going to get a terminating or repeating decimal. Let's look at the examples they gave us. 0.4. That is definitely a terminating decimal because it stops. Same with 0.375. This is also a terminating decimal because it stops. We don't see a repeated number over and over again. 0.666 with these dots following tells us that this 6 continues to repeat. So that would be a repeating decimal. And we said that we can write a repeating decimal as 0.6 with a repeat bar. That repeat bar tells us that that number, or maybe multiple numbers, keeps repeating. Okay. If you forgot what a terminating or repeating decimal is, there are notes here for repeating and terminating decimals. The key idea is that terminating ends. Okay, we see that here. Terminating decimals ends. Even this long decimal right here. There are a lot of numbers in it, but none of these numbers repeats itself. So that still means that it's a terminating decimal. When we get to repeating decimals, it goes on forever. But the digits form a repeating pattern. So like 0.6666, and you could keep going on, or like 0.7272727272. So in this case, if we had 0.72727272 and so on, instead of writing this over and over and over again, we would put a repeat bar over the 7-2. Okay? Let us know if you have questions about those key ideas, but that's what we're going to be doing in lesson 3. So let's go to the try this section. We have to convert each fraction to a decimal, and then we have to say if the decimal terminates or repeats. So we have to say if it stops or if it keeps on going, and just circle the correct answer. So 5 divided by 16, or 5 over 16, we're going to put this in our calculators as 5 divided by 16. Okay, remember, numerator divided by denominator. So in your calculator, do 5 divided by 16. Make sure to press the equal button. Oh, did I press 16 twice? I did. 5 divided by 16 equals 0.3125. Okay? 0.3125. So is this a terminating or repeating decimal? Well, I'm going to check to see, do any of the numbers here repeat, or do I see a pattern? No, the answer is no. And in my calculator, it shows me that this number ends. It doesn't keep going on, right? There's not extra numbers here. This is it. So it terminates. It ends. We're going to circle terminating. Okay, number 2, 5 over 6. In our calculators, and to convert this to a decimal, we are going to put numerator divided by denominator, which is 5 divided by 6. So in your calculators, please do 5 divided by 6 equals 0.833333333. Notice how the 3 keeps on repeating. So I can write 0.83333333333, and it can keep going on, right? Or I could just put a repeat bar over the 3 to show that that 3 keeps on repeating, okay? That way I don't have to write it all the time. So is this a terminating or repeating decimal? It would be a repeating decimal because that 3 keeps on repeating. All right, number 3, 1 over 9. Remember in our calculators, we're going to put 1 divided by 9, numerator divided by denominator. And when I put that in my calculator, I get 0.111111. So notice how the 1 continues to repeat itself. Again, instead of writing all these 1s, I can just put a repeat bar over the 1, showing that it's going to continue to repeat, and that means that this is a repeating decimal. Okay, last one, number 4, 7 over 20. So in our calculators, we're going to do 7 divided by 20. Show on my calculator one more time how we can do this. So 7 divided by 20 equals 0.35. Okay, this number for sure does not repeat, right? It's only 0.35. That means it's a terminating decimal. It ends, okay? If you have any questions about converting fractions to decimals, please let us know. All you need to do is divide the numerator by the denominator in our calculators and determine if it's a terminating or repeating decimal. Go ahead and move to page 23 in your purple workbooks. In the practice, you need to convert each fraction to a terminating decimal in this group. So it tells us all these fractions are terminating decimals. So just put these in your calculator and write down the terminating decimal. And then in this section here, it's asking us to convert each fraction to a repeating decimal. So again, it's telling us these are all repeating decimals. So consider using that repeat bar, okay? All right, and then go ahead and do the reflect questions as well. And you're going to use division to justify your answer. So these are a bit challenging, so do your best. But you need to come up with a fraction that's greater than 1 that can be expressed as a terminating decimal. And then for the second one, come up with a fraction that's greater than 1 that can be expressed as a repeating decimal. Okay? Let us know if you have questions, and please make sure to show your work.